Hello there, my dear friends. Hello, peeps. It's your boy Skinny Penis with the long overdue cringe video about submarines. I mean, everyone has to say how shit they are and give their opinion. So here I am, essentially giving the same kind of opinion. Mm. We are today in a U-2501, and obviously that is not me who is playing. That is actually Battleship Difference, or Ivan, my dear Ivan from NA. He's sponsoring us with one of his cringiest gameplays ever, or games ever, and that's saying something. I mean, I think we're in for a rough ride. Absolute carnation with submarines in the enemy base, and we can quickly talk over why this is probably the worst addition to the game since the carrier rework. Or actually, was there anything worse in between? No. I think carrier rework was already one of the greatest disasters ever. So now we have submarines. I think in terms of frustrating the player base, they're even topping it off. Look at this. He's already diving like a cute little toilet fish and is not getting spotted by the carrier. This is a really fun mechanic because why? Pretty much no ship in the entire game can dodge carrier spotting the entire game at will. Obviously DDs can smoke if the carrier comes now, but what use is it in base to smoke? So you essentially have to waste one of your best consumables as a destroyer in base if you don't want to get spotted. Otherwise, obviously, mostly you don't use it, it's a waste. So the enemy carrier can get information on pretty much every ship in the entire game for his team in the enemy base at the beginning of the match. Every single game. That's how dumb carriers are. But here comes the twist. Look at how fucking stupid submarines are. They can just dodge it at will. You will never know where the submarine is, as long as the submarine player is actually staring at his screen and knows what buttons to press when something approaches that could potentially spot him. Seems kinda retarded, right? Yes, it does. So what are the playstyles of a submarine? Well, you could theoretically play objective. You actually could. Some do. But the best use of a submarine is nothing else but damage dealing. This is just it. The whole class is designed around the fact that you deal damage. And how do you deal damage the best and most undisturbed? Well, you pretty much search for an opportunity to go into the enemy base and then wreak havoc there. Because there are two options they have. Either they send like 3 or 4 ships to try and perma-spot you and drop you, which takes ages, and they have to leave the objective or the fight with your team. So you relieve your team and your team can do whatever the fuck, because the enemy team is actually about to, or has to pretty much hunt you. Or they just leave you alone, and then you can just kill a bunch of people and have fun and deal a lot of damage. Pretty straightforward stupidity. I think most people that play submarines are insanely shit at them and don't understand jack shit. I mean, if you just look at the accounts, most submarine players have very few games or very low win rates, and they have no clue what they should do. Like, literally zero clue. So if like 10%, let's say, or maybe even 20, oh my god, that would be disaster. If like 20% of the enemy, of every submarine player actually had hands, the game would currently be, in my opinion, unplayable. The class, because the class is uncounterable, make no mistake. We already saw that he can dodge spotting at will. Next thing is, he can also dive below most ships completely unspotted if he's at the lowest depth. Only hydro ships can hydro him in a vicinity of 2 kilometers when he's at the lowest depth. Otherwise, he is unspottable. Unless an enemy submarine is at the same depth and spotting you. That also works. Like submarines counter submarines in terms of spotting. Like, it's best if your submarine permanently humps the enemy submarine so you can keep track of where he's going. Because this is like the biggest issue with the subs. Against surface ships, they can just dive, go dark for an insanely long period, 3, 4, 5 minutes even, and just pop up completely somewhere else, opposite side of the map. Like, whatever, behind you, wherever. Like, they can also just go dark and chill and sit at the same spot, and you're like, where did he go, where did he go? You kept the objective, you try to figure it out, you have to deal with enemy surface ships, and then you leave the objective, and suddenly he resurfaces unspotted and caps it again. Wow, so cool, so much counterplay. Also, the fact that you deal essentially 0 damage with most ships against subs, and some ships have no counterplay at all, like Guden can't really counter it, Also, ships like Hindenburg and Venezia have like zero fucking counter. I mean, if the submarine is where Ivan is currently, would you be willing to be on top of him with a fucking Venezia or Hindenburg? So the Monty, Venezia, and his team or something can shit on them? Honestly, Ivan's team is fairly dented in this game. Like, this is very obvious by the minimap positions. So you could potentially pull it off. But in a normal game, where a lot of ships of the enemy team are spread out in front of you, who the fuck would ever go in and drop depth charges in a Hindenburg or Venezia on the sub? No, you have to disengage, but you can't spot the torps with Hydro in a Venezia, for example, and you can't spot him if he's on periscope depth, but he keeps you spotted. Also, the next thing we're running into, like, there are more and more things that are completely stupid about this class. Holy shit, who would have seen that coming? You do not only dodge spotting at will for like ever and come up somewhere else where you don't want to be. You can also spot the enemy team. Look at this. He's literally in the face of the enemy team on periscope depth, and no one can spot him. No one can fucking spot him. It's like, wow. Even if the carrier searches for him, he has to essentially hit a circle with 2 kilometers of radius, so 4 kilometers in diameter, to spot the submarine. Hitting that circle of 4 kilometer diameter on the entire map is really, really, really rare. I think he actually gets him here. No, he doesn't. Next thing is, I mean, we're not running out of stupidity here. Next thing is, submarines, if they dive, they, as you can see, still keep you spotted. And also, they get, even if they're on lowest depth where they can't spot, they have their hydrophone, which keeps your minimap position updated. That's essentially like spotting, because you can dodge the enemy depth charges, for example, DDs or cruisers that are trying to kill you or be on top of you. You can dodge them because you know where they're going, but they have no indicator of where you're going. Like, wow, cool, bro, nice counterplay, nice fucking design, man. Holy shit, who came up with that? Then, look at this. He shotguns the Yamato. Zero he can do, zero, and the torp reload is obviously insanely long, right? With that kind of alpha strike that the Yamato can't heal and always procs like his DCP because he either gets engine damage or flood. I mean, that alpha strike is like, hey, torp reload must be long, right, with that alpha strike? No, fuck no, it's 50 seconds and he's full HP. I think they even have adrenaline rush. I have never looked at any module or specification on a submarine. Like, I don't know what they can spec. No clue. You would have to ask Ivan for this. I'm going to link his Twitch so you can watch him and ask him if you want. But this looks kind of sussy, honestly. Like 50 seconds base, and I think they can slot the adrenaline rush. So if the submarine is half HP, which is still fairly healthy for a submarine, especially if it has dive capacity, you will still not be able to finish him or get him out. Like, or like additional 10% less, like 45 seconds. Like, we're reaching territories where the torps are way, way, way faster than DCPs come off cooldown. Oh, you can also block Lutyens, which is cool, right? I think Lutyens heals the same amount on a submarine than he does on a cruiser, battleship, or DD. That's why Lutyens was normally, the heal ability was normally only good on DDs, like really good on DDs, because it's like 3 or 3.5k on tier 10, I think 3k. And I mean, look at the submarine health. He's essentially healing 1/6 of his HP if he gets that proc. And it coincides so well with the submarine's capabilities of staying unspotted and spotting for free. Wow. Who would have thought you can get the spotting ribbons for free? If there's no carrier in the game, the submarine is top dog spotting. Like, by far. I mean, it's not like the carrier that can go everywhere on the map instantaneously, wherever it wants. That's fairly obvious. But on the flank where the submarine is, it can spot in the most cringe ways. Like, your periscope depth enabling you to spot enemy ships is the biggest fucking bullshit. They're arguing probably like, oh, that's historically accurate. Yeah, go fuck off, man. This, how is a DD supposed to counter this? You have 2 kilometers of spotting or detect on the submarine, while the submarine can spot you at your normal detection. What is it? 5, 6, like 5.6 at best, and all other DDs are even earlier spotted. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Also, mind that radar doesn't get you on periscope depth. I don't know if they change it, but this is also complete bullshit. You can sit in radar ranges of radar DDs or radar cruisers, even radar battleships, and spot them for free while they have no means of counter-spotting you, even though they have radar. They're supposed to have radar. So going nose in a Stalin, Moskva, Des Moines or something, and a submarine that has hands is in front of you is an insane no-go. You're dead. You're just fucking dead. Like... Anyways, if there's a submarine in front of you that knows what he's doing, you're dead. It's so unfun. It's unplayable. It's unplayable with battleships, and it's unplayable. It's even more unplayable with cruisers. Battleships at least have a large HP pool and torpedo protection, so they can uh, kinda dodge the incoming damage a bit, or like they slow bleed to death. I mean, it took him 2 shotgun salvos to fuck the Yamato, because the second set was no DCP, and he got an engine damage and a flood. So, yeah, well, it's like you eat 2 salvos. DDs and cruisers die to 1. Most cruisers actually die to 1, by the way. Shotgunning is still a thing. It's a bit more difficult for especially people without hands to shotgun with the unguided torps that have higher alpha, but the ones that are normally homing or supposed to be homing can be used for insane close-up shotguns. Obviously they net less damage, but I mean, who the fuck cares? You do it for free. You come up, you shotgun, you dive down. Also, they finally announced they fixed the ASW range, like minimum ASW range that a submarine has to be like away from a battleship, to like cruiser level. So this essentially means submarines can't free outplay the battleships anymore. How fun is that? Like there was a range in which the submarine could surface next to you and shotgun you, where you couldn't even drop him with ASW, where your counterplay didn't even work. It's like, okay, my hydro works between 6 and 4 kilometers, but if a ship is closer than 6 kilometers, like, I don't spot that ship in the smoke anymore. Like, what the fuck? It's like, who comes up with that? So, what is he doing here? Standard battle and epicenter are insanely broken modes, by the way, for submarines, because he doesn't have to care about, like, zeroing or capping and shit. So he can just deal damage. And the class is a pure damage dealer. The best way, or the most efficient way to deal to play with submarines is to go towards the enemy base, kill everything that is in your path, and then wreak havoc in the enemy base. Because there is also most likely no DD and enemy sub there. The only way that gets spoiled is if there's a DD, like a daring with hydro, on your path that wants you dead, and essentially your team doesn't deal with him. Because normally if he wants you dead, he dies for it, because you can just keep him spotted, while he tries desperately to fuck you over. Or an enemy submarine is on your way, spots you, and then decides to perma-hump you. Wow. This is like the only thing that counters you. The rest is, if there's nothing like that on your path, which is also fairly likely because wargaming is obviously not spawning the submarines, like, sometimes they're not spawning them on, like, the same side. Sometimes they're actually, like, putting them on different sides, so you have a free path. Some games are without a lot of DDs. It's like even less. DDs are like not that bad, same as carriers, because you can kind of ignore the submarine threat. Some DDs are really shit, like Elbing is probably suffering the most from submarines. Submarines can shotgun it so easily, and also like perma-ping and home on it very easily, while it has like zero way to deal with it, like no hydro, and depth charges are shit as fuck. I think Elbing needs like probably around about 30 hits. Depth charge hits, I mean, to kill a submarine fully, or maybe even more. I don't know, depends, I guess. But fast destroyers and especially gunboats, they can like just ignore and run away. Like Frenchies, for example, are nice to hunt submarines if there's nothing around them, but they can also just ignore them and run away. They're too fast, hard to ping as well. It's still gonna be annoying. We can also talk about the fact how dumb fuck annoying submarine pings are. Like some submarines just sit in front of you and perma ping you like turds. Like, cool, dude. It's like you have a constant indicator and a constant reminder that there's a submarine that is about to grief you to shit. I mean, if you're really scummy, you can even send your torps and salvos, When someone is nose in, for example, perma nose in, you can send like 2 and then you wait 10 seconds, you send another 2 and then you wait 2 seconds, and you do this all the time. So it's like perma flood, perma ping. There's like zero fucking DCP. Like there is, if a submarine is focusing you and going for you the entire dumb fucking time, there is no DCP management. You don't have a DCP 80% of the time. Like you don't have it. You, you accept that you get damaged and you probably DCP the floods at this point, or sometimes if you see the torps early enough you can DCP and throw them off. Happens rarely, but like, I don't know. Look at Ivan, man. He's just like terrorizing the enemy team and base, constantly like nuking people. He shotgunned around like 5 or 6 times this game. He's still full HP in their base. Their DD, which they have, Haaland, pretty much has very little chance of actually outplaying him. The the forward launchers of the submarine are fairly fucking shit. The forward launchers of the depth charges are fairly fucking shit. It's really hard to hit the submarine as a Haaland or Smaland or Ragnar. And here we see Ivan spotting for himself at Periscope. They can't spot him. He goes down again. He like easily just shotguns the Napoli out. Wow. This is really cool gameplay, bro. If if we look at the top screen, we can see he has 38 torps, pretty much. It's all Alpha Strike, 250k damage, and it's all Alpha Strike. He didn't send me the end screen, so we don't know for sure. His team obviously entered himself, or themselves, so he will lose it. But, wow, fun gameplay, huh? He has like 500 or 600 games of these, so he's most likely the best submarine player that is currently out there. And I will link the stream. He's currently only playing sub on stream pretty much, since he like hates playing other ships against that and just says, okay, fuck it, I play it myself. Maybe I make a dent into the spreadsheet, which is unlikely. I fear that they're going to even further buff submarines in the current state. If people would know how to play them, I already mentioned it, it's game breaking. It would be game breaking if more people would understand how to play them. The class is essentially, compared to any other class in the game, considered uncounterable. Like, you can literally consider it uncounterable if the submarine player knows what he's doing. Yes, you may not have the impact in certain situations than another class, just because you have to, like, dodge. But overall, it's just... It's about to happen again. It's about to happen, bro. Wow. Ooh, sheesh. Like, wow, he took a lot of damage for that, honestly. Whoa. He's like, 14,000 out of 18,000. He could even get 2 more spottings on the ships that are unspotted and heal up again. Wow. I'm lost for words. Like, I don't know. I don't know at this point what to say. This shit is griefing. Like, the entire class is not designed playing together as a division or a team, or playing around a normal battle line that everyone has to respect. Like, there's a cruiser, in front is a DD, behind is a battleship. Even let the carrier fly on top of each other, whatever the fuck. But a DD can't just randomly break through. A cruiser or battleship couldn't do that. They're spotted, they get shot at from multiple angles. A submarine can essentially just dive to the lowest depth and go 5 minutes into the enemy base, resurface for free because there's most likely nothing that spots him, update the minimap around him while he does that with the hydrophone, come up again, and he's wreaking havoc. He's not respecting battle line. He's just random somewhere. Like, what? Why? Why do we need that? It's just griefing the enemy team. It's not playing together with your team. It's the same shit as support carriers, where you're like, oh, maybe it drops heals, maybe it drops smokes, maybe it radars, maybe it, yeah, like it gives heals, for example, and helps your team. No, no, it has to fucking grief the enemy team. It has to ruin the enemy team's game and like make their DCPs and consumables not work, or not make their radars work or whatever. No, it can't help your team, it must grief. It's like, wow, cool. We end with 270k, a Kraken, and everything is in torpedo damage. I mean, is that good? Like, is that good? I could go on for another 20 minutes probably with another replay. The class is... it's grief, it's shit, it's garbage, I don't want it. I don't know what the silent minority is. Like, I don't know who these people are. I also blacklist every submarine player I can find, so I never have to talk or listen to them ever again. I don't know. I think we're in for a rough ride if these like pieces of turd come live, but whatever. I mean, try to make the best of it in randoms. Have fun. Take care of yourself this week. Hop into Ivan's or my stream if you want. As said, Ivan is pretty much showing you how submarines can work, so you can have a look at it and see for yourself. Then you have a more informed opinion and can make more informed decisions maybe. See you soon. Check it out and have fun.